Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of council, for giving us the opportunity to report on the department's activities the past year. Planning and zoning has 5 core functions, which you see on the screen right now: land use planning, coastal zone management, floodplain management, code enforcement, and permitting. We serve as staff to the Coastal Zone Committee, the Planning Commission, and the Zoning Board of Adjustment. 2017 saw a lot of big accomplishments for the department. First off, we implemented a basic online permitting program, so residents can apply for building permits through the website, and that's something that they can do right now. I'm going to come back to that to show you the customer service impact on our residents and builders in a few moments. We have implemented the adjudicated properties program, which has had tremendous results so far. And we have coordinated with the Public Information Office to issue the first draft for the program for public information to the Flood Aware Committee. The net result of that will eventually be a 5% reduction for residents' rates on flood insurance once we can improve our CRS score through that program. So we've had a lot of people working on that for a decent amount of time, but that will be coming to fruition in the short term. We've also worked very hard on tech upgrades in the department. When I tell you we have 4 separate databases that aren't connected and aren't indexable, we have some difficulties right now, but we are going to be remedying that in the very short term. So I'm going to start by talking about the internal progress by showing our organizational chart, our 4 divisions for what we do in the department. We've worked very closely with personnel over the past few years, really since I started here, to create a stratified personnel environment where we can actually retain employees. They don't have to go somewhere else because their job has plateaued out. We've had 3 internal promotions this year, or in the past couple months alone, and several over the past 2 or 3 years. I think 3 people in attendance with me today. We have several department representatives. I think at least 3 of them have received promotions through this work in the short term. We've also worked really hard to reinforce the reporting and monitoring of activities. And I know I'm in communication with a lot of you. You're getting your updates when you ask for them in a timely manner, and we're following through. I don't think anyone's being hung out to dry or left waiting for answers about their questions in their district. I want to go ahead and introduce Ken Lorio just for a second. Ken is our new code enforcement supervisor. So all of your problems can go straight to him now. You have a convenient path to deal with things. Ken's been a great asset in the community. He was very good working in mostly Tracy's district. Yeah, and so we're very proud of Ken and very happy for the work he's doing. He has cards that I'll drop off for you if you don't have his number yet. Go ahead. The software upgrades I was talking about will be almost entirely done through My Permit now. Right now, this is our permitting module, and this one is indexable. It's the only one where we can search street, location, last name, property. We can pull up every permit that's happened on that property since the system's been started. The idea is that in the long term, when you type in an address, you're going to have any code violations that have happened show up at the same time you look at that address for permitting. You're going to know if the special use permit was cleared prior to them applying for that business license or occupational permit. It has a lot of functionality in it. We have the ability to assign accounts to folks in the administration, to you on council. If you're just curious, we can run reports that you can pull up and see what's happening. And we can do a lot with this. We are working figuratively and literally on improvements, and this is the building renovation plans. From what you can hopefully see from the dais, the red portion on the plans represents the building expansion. That's the growth footprint coming off the front of the building towards River Road. The green area, there's only a green line, but that is the changes to the intake and front office, with security measures being implemented, as well as a place for people to fill out forms. And our front counter staff is a little bit better protected with they're higher up. We've had people reach over counters before, so we have had some difficulties with this. The orange, or the blue is the conference room. You all have been in there at some point. It's going to be expanded with a larger table and more modern features. And the orange that you see up there is all of the increased office space and the cubicles, the modern cubicles for our code enforcement staff. All right, let's talk about some very good news. The adjudicated properties program has returned approximately $92,000 to Parish residents since October. That's 15 properties sold through the program, 3 of them through adjacent lot purchases, which basically means if a property comes up for sale that's next to yours, you have first right of purchase, and it doesn't go through the auction process. It's a legal state mechanism that we're employing. Bids have gone over the starting price by $101,000, which, and talking with Civic Source, they're basically telling me that's some of the best pricing in the market, that we've done very well on this. I don't know if you can see it. I have this for you if you want. It shows the towns, the addresses, the starting price, and the final price on these. Some very impressive numbers on those. The best part about this is the parish is now receiving tax revenue from those properties, and they're eligible for development. One of them has had a full renovation permit pulled on the house to renovate the structure. So it's really nothing but good news from this. We have people from Civic Source here. If you have any questions for them, they are holding an open house on the 19th, 1 hour prior to the ZBA, if you want to come in and ask any direct questions to them. I'll give you my paper so you can read it. Yeah, let's go on to the next one. Let's talk about building permit numbers, because this is also additional good news. From April of last year to April of this year, we have issued over 1,400 total building permits. Now, that breaks down major and minor ones, but 155 new homes. That's real growth. I mean, that's something you can drive around the parish and see that right now. 17 brand new full build commercial businesses. It's not as much, but that's still pretty good for where we're at. Now, I mentioned at the beginning about online permitting and why that's important. The majority of permits that we issue in our office are for trade permits, which is electrical, plumbing, the sort of thing. People come in for a gas hookup. It's over 500 of those, and a majority of those people no longer have to come into the office. They save a lot of time. They get that email to them, and it's done. Once the contractor's caught on, our front office is a lot quieter now. Development updates. Oh, actually, I go back one. I should mention that. For over the past year, I've actually been chairperson for the Building Code Construction Council for the South Central region. So we've been working on some financial accountability issues, and there's been a lot of discussion around permit pricing, and it's all been favorable. We're doing well with this. Development update. We have 4 major active subdivisions within the parish. 1 commercial for 23 lots that is awaiting construction approval. It's waiting to go to commission for approval. We have 3 major active subdivisions: Audubon Place, Ashton Phase 2A, and River Road Estates, all within varying stages of construction approval. So there's a lot happening in terms of building, and I think that's shown in those housing numbers, because what was the other one? That's okay. Go ahead, next. Land use applications. We've actually held very steady over the past few years with these. There's not a lot of change in the numbers except for the subdivision numbers. There's a lot more minors. People have been busy consolidating lots, and it's led to that increase in volume. But everything else is holding steady, and for us, that's always a good thing. Code enforcement. We work very closely with almost every one of you. I don't think there's anyone on this council that I haven't spoken to in person about some code issue, and some of them a lot more significant than others. We work very hard with the community to give the time and resources needed to resolve these issues, and we have a lot of departments working with us to ensure that this happens, from legal to public works. It's a genuine team effort across the parish. Let's see some numbers on that. Caseload from last year is just under 1,000, which has been fairly consistent over the past few years. The majority of cases come from the Norco area. There's a very active citizen community there, and we appreciate that. We're happy to hear that. Grass complaints are actually down overall. I think the word has gotten out and people are a lot more timely. We just got the signs in for the 7-day restriction on people, and that has gone into place in a few instances. Lastly, I left this slide in here from last year. I just wanted to emphasize that we are following through on things that we've brought up in the past. We have been working on our public service and our partnerships with the community. We've sat down with most of you and your planning commissioners as time has allowed to talk about what's going on in your districts. We have increased accessibility to residents through online means and really timeliness. Modernization is something we're working, like I said, figuratively and literally hard at. By the end of the year, we'll hopefully have you in our fully renovated building and be able to show off some of that. But, President Cochran asked us to work on his vision for growth of the parish, and we are working towards that. Thank you for your time. I'm going to see the rest of it to Earl. He's going to talk about some coastal management issues.
Okay, first of all, let me apologize. I don't have much of a voice, so it's probably a good chance Michael only left me with 30 seconds. Anyway, our official local coastal program went into effect on July 1st of last year. And since then, the Louisiana Department of Natural Resources has been sending us local concern permits to look at. I think because I am just learning, they're not sending me every eligible permit. They have sent me I think they've sent me 7 at this point, most of which has been exempt from permitting because of elevation, or we've been able to work through the mitigation efforts that are required by the state. They're still holding my hand. They even, when I go out in the field and look at them, they actually still accompany me to make sure that I can identify the plants correctly. But we're coming a little farther along each day. The contract which pays for that service from the state of Louisiana will come up for renewal in July, assuming that the state has all of their ducks in a row in their budget. But we're assuming we'll be renewing in July. As you know, St. Charles Parish is finishing up its effort to redo the modeling for the FEMA maps. I've been in discussion with Lonnie G. Harper about coming in and do a presentation. They feel that they'll be able to present us with our own draft flood maps in May of this year. I'm trying to work out a date where both the Harper folks and Dr. Saheda can both be here in early May. And I will be scheduling that meeting through the Special Projects Committee as soon as I can. Each of the last 2 years I've come up in here and talked about the National Flood Insurance Program reauthorization and those things that we've been fighting for. Congress has again delayed the full reauthorization of the NFIP. It was supposed to renew in 2016, then it got pushed to 2017, and now it's in July of this year with the latest omnibus bill. While all of the issues have been discussed, we still haven't seen a draft of what Congress actually intends to do. There were 4 drafts out. They were very drastically different. So we're going to have to see where that goes. Just a word is that while flood insurance premiums continue to rise in all categories, and that's nationwide, St. Charles Parish, with the changes to the A99 premium, is currently enjoying the maximum number of homes paying the PRP, or the preferred risk rate, which is the lowest rate you can pay. Just please keep in mind as we move forward with these maps that it is likely that any changes to the map will increase premiums on both the east and west bank of the parish. So just keep that in mind as we move forward, okay? As Michael mentioned earlier, we're working on the flood aware program. And, like he said, the big thing about the flood aware program is that it's part of our CRS rating. The community rating, we are already getting a 10% reduction in flood rates. The additional 5% should come along with just the passage of the flood aware, the public information program. Because what the PI program is it's not worth points on its own. It is a multiplier to the other things we do. So as part of that project, we have begun some of the activities. Excuse me. My favorite of which is the signs that you may see around the parish that says, when flooded, turn around, don't drown. It's actually part of a national initiative for areas that, for roadways that flood on a regular basis. This particular road is in the spillway, which, as you know, floods on a regular basis. I tried to get a picture of it underwater, but the Corps of Engineers told me I had to turn around, so, you know. Anyway, that's all I really have for you tonight, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Mr. Mathern.